They are going even bigger than we thought, as following some huge reports that dropped recently surrounding the Jays meeting with Kyle Tucker. We have some brand new reports that have dropped late last night into this morning, revealing that not only are the Jays going bigger than we could have ever imagined, but folks, something big is brewing in the very near future. We're going to break down these brand new reports specifically as it pertains to a couple of key players in Kyle Tucker and Bichette. But not only that, we have updates on some other players as well, revealing Ross Atkins' master plan. You're going to want to stay tuned until the end of the video, as we are now just days away from the beginning of winter meetings. But before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, we're on the road to 25,000 subscribers and the bigger goal of 30,000. So if you're enjoying the daily content, you guys have been absolute beasts with the support. It truly means the world to me. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Folks, a ton to go over today, and obviously it's been a very crazy past 24, 48 hours. The Jays have officially met with Kyle Tucker, but we have a lot of updates since then surrounding their plan going forward. And I want to start with a report from Jon Heyman. Now, this is very notable. He went on his Bleacher Report live stream yesterday and gave a ton of insight surrounding the Jays plan. And folks, he is gassing up the Jays heavy, but we have some stuff from a bunch of different reporters, Jeff Passan, Robert Murray, a ton of guys to kind of go over today. But let's start with this here from Jon Heyman. Now, yesterday in his live stream, he said that Toronto seems to be the favorites for Kyle Tucker so far, which is, a pretty big report in itself. And again, Jon Heyman is a Boras guy. Kyle Tucker isn't actually. He's not represented by Scott Boras, but Jon Heyman still hears things from Scott Boras and from a ton of other, of course, insiders. He's a very reputable reporter. Love him or hate him. He obviously has his, a lot of Canadians and Jays fans don't like him for a few things, but it is what it is. Toronto seems to be the favorite for Tucker. Bichette's market isn't moving much. A return to Toronto makes the most sense, and not turning down the possibility of Toronto spending $600 million between Tucker and Bichette. So if you wanted to get hyped up by a Jon Heyman report, this is the one. Not only does he view the Jays the favorites for Kyle Tucker, he's saying that the Bichette market actually isn't moving very much, and that a return is likely here, and that a possibility of a $600 million deal here for both of them, of course. This is crazy. Now, there has been a lot of reports circulating as of late, right? And there's a ton of things going on. We're seeing some more reports, Jeff Passan and others. You can see this here. The Blue Jays, this is on, specifically the Kyle Tucker thing with the facilities. The Blue Jays spring facilities in Dunedin are right there in Tampa Bay, where Tucker originally was from and where he went during the season when he was trying to sort out his late season calf injury. It would make a visit very easy for all sides, but might also make the fit with the Jays all the more compelling to him. So this is very interesting now, and this is some new details beyond, of course, the fact that he met with the Toronto Blue Jays already, and that Jon Heyman views him as the favorites, which is very encouraging. Now, favorites don't mean anything unless you sign the player, but regardless, the fact that he met with them is encouraging. It means the Jays clearly have the money to get him and are willing to spend that, because you don't meet with a guy just as a formality if you're not willing to. Everyone knows how much he's going to get, right? At least $300 million, probably more. But this part here, again, they met, in case you missed it, they met with him at his facility. This part here is interesting. So during last year, he actually went to Tampa Bay to rehab his injury. This is another, thing that benefits the Jays. They obviously have a world-class facility at the Rogers Center in Dunedin. They spent a lot of money in both of these places for the player development complex, which is in Dunedin. Sorry, this is great. Like, you can sell Kyle Tucker on this. If obviously, if he wants to, rehab, if he, God forbid he gets an injury, you never want to wish an injury on anyone. But if he's dealing with something, he can go near his hometown, very close, or where he lives rather, and work it out and fix it very close to his his point of living, his place of living rather. Sorry, and it's just an ideal scenario here. And he has tons of teammates that are former teammates that are on the Jays now: George Springer, Miles Straw. This is lining up perfectly. And the fact that the Jays have been, and now, of course, we had all of yesterday, Thursday, to see reports. No one else has been reported, at least as of this point, to be to have already met Kyle Tucker. And you pair this with Jon Heyman late last night, a couple nights ago, saying that, reposting the fact that the Jays are going to go crazy this offseason. This is fantastic, fantastic news. And I do think this here, these are the things that matter. We saw Shane Bieber. He took a discount. We're seeing Dylan Cease join, the Jays family, if you want to call it that. Things like, being close to home, having world-class facilities, being obviously a great spot for families, new families, all these different things, whether you're having, a kid, whether you're having, all these different, like, you have to take these things into account when you're signing somewhere for 8 years. And we've seen guys like Shane Bieber, and now obviously with his young kid, have a huge impact going forward. And of course, multiple other players. Miles Straw had a newborn last year. Like, all these guys, a ton of this matters, and the Jays are a perfect fit, and they are absolutely fantastic at that. And Kyle Tucker himself is one of the best players, right? He's an absolute beast. He's genuinely one of the best players in baseball when, fully healthy. But you pair that with some new tweets that are coming out from a reporter here, Busser Only. The World Series run for the Jays completely changed the perception of the organization among players, and some agents say, and the Toronto is loaded with money, buying in the same financial neighborhood as the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, and of course, they've been linked to every major free agent from Tucker to Diaz, but as one agent notes, they can't and won't sign everyone. And I mean, if they somehow pull off Tucker and Bichette, let's build a statue for Ross Atkins. Whether you hate him or love him, getting both of those guys would genuinely be, I mean, life-changing for for the Jays ownership, but also like just insane for us as fans. You can argue life-changing for some of us fans. All these little things matter. Now, in the same vein, Robert Murray recently came out in a stream and said that people around the league were not surprised by Dylan Cease's contract. So for people who think the Jays overpaid, not the case, according to multiple sources, and that this is just the beginning, and this is a few days ago, of course, after the Cease signing, this is just the beginning of a busy offseason for the Jays, and he thinks and hears Bo is going to do much better than people think contract-wise, which is an interesting one. And we'll have a video, or I will rather have a video either later today or tomorrow, fully covering the Bo Bichette scenario, because there is some, or rather, the current scenario that's going on, because there is some updates to go over with that. But it is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. And you also have John Morosi yesterday saying, I think there is a legitimate possibility for Kyle Tucker and the Toronto Blue Jays. And he dives into the fact that the player development complex being near Tampa, or being in Dunedin, Florida, near Tampa Bay, where Kyle Tucker lives. There's so many things that are lining up perfectly. It's hard to be excited, or hard not to be excited, sorry. And also, a report came out from the Dodgers side of things. And you can see here, this is from a Dodgers reporter of The Athletic talking about how the Dodgers' work is far from done, but that addressing the bullpen is a top priority. But their relief pursuits as of right now are trying to thread a tight needle. They want to be engaged on several of the top relievers available on the market. And listen to me closely here, but have tried to stick to shorter term frameworks. And among this report, I don't think it's fully in this screenshot, the Dodgers aren't willing to go to some of the financial lengths that some of the other teams are for the relievers and others. So it seems as of now that the Dodgers are out on Kyle Tucker because of the financial framework. And that makes sense as to why, it's only been the Jays that have reportedly been, meeting with them. Everything is lining up perfectly. Now, I'm sure the Phillies will be involved. I'm sure the Mets will potentially be involved here. There are a lot of teams that are at play for Mr. Tucker, but the Jays just seem to be not only the best fit, but the favorites at this point, which is super exciting. And I want to bring this back up from like a week or so ago when they signed Dylan Cease. Shi Davidi came out and said that it doesn't rule out anything else they want to do. And of course, they've signed Cody Ponce since then to a 3-year, $30 million deal. But he said the way the Blue Jays have spoken about it, when there's a business case to be made, if they can justify it, then they can go do it. Every report is indicating something big is coming. Now, if you add Kyle, I mean, we can go through the exercise a million times, right? Kyle Tucker on this team would it would be unbelievable, right? It would be better than any of our, I think it Bo and Kyle Tucker. But again, you'd have to move off of Nathan Lucas. There's a lot of things that can happen here. But the fact that John Heyman is not turning down the possibility of both is notable. And there's also been some rumblings from, you can see here, his name is MLB Live, used to be named Cardinals Live. He got the Santander contract first, the Vladdy contract first, supposedly, and he's fairly reputable. He's not a big name reporter, but if you've been around the Twitter space, he's been legit a few times. Take this with a grain of salt, though. This is not from a super reputable guy, but I wanted to bring it up anyway. If you've made it this far in the video, shout out to you guys. But he said the Blue Jays would love to leave Orlando with one of two things done: signing Kyle Tucker, trading for an outfielder and a reliever, and re-signing Bo. They're going to be an active team as we get to the back half of this week. And that was December 3rd before this came out on December 3rd night. That was, of course, from December 3rd morning. And again, he said that trading for an outfielder would happen if they could not get Tucker. So very interesting there. We'll obviously keep you up to date with it. And he's projected to get over $450 million. I'm suspecting it'll be between $300 and $400. But man, oh man, is it going to be crazy to see what happens. But either way, it's all but confirmed now, folks. The Jays are going even bigger than we initially thought. And also, in case you made it this far, they also made a signing. I'm going to have a full video covering the signing, but if you made it this far, a little tidbit there. They signed a young stud. So stay tuned for a video on that coming up very, very soon. But folks, Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Are you all in on the Jays going all in stuff? Are you a little bit hesitant after the fact that, the Otani stuff, the Soto stuff, the Sasaki stuff? So many reports are happening. I suspect some big news probably to drop today. Not necessarily a signing, but some more rumors as it's Friday. Probably a little bit quiet into the weekend. And then on Monday, when winter meetings start, things are going to explode and the Jays are going to be right in the midst of it and right in the thick of it. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are beasts. Cheers.